Okay, I will start my speech. Wait. In three, two, one. So the opening debate has been talking about how there is toxic beauty standard in K-pop industry on OG, and how K-pop creates breakthrough of innovation and racial diversity on OO. CG will come to the debate by explaining about how the industry is actually so bad and the way they work is very discriminative towards women, because we are not opposing K-pop, but the beauty of the debate is why the way the industry conduct itself is just so bad. From the matter of recruiting, training, promotion, and even the fans' reaction or support, we believe that the K-pop industry inherently treats female artists in a discriminative manner. We believe this is going to be the most important and contributive, because we will answer the OP of the debate of what is so wrong inherently in K-pop industry that we need to aggressively oppose it, because the opening debate is in a deadlock. OG said beauty standard in K-pop is bad, O said it's innovative, but regardless of whether toxic beauty standard exists or not, what matters more is discussing the female artists themselves, how much women suffer in the K-pop industry, right? One major clarification is that oppose means we are not going to buy the products coming from this K-pop industry, and aggressively to the point that we are also going to publicly boycott them. We are going to expose how the industry treats women, and it's going to be the whole narrative agenda of feminists against K-pop. Before going to my argument, I will give two major rebuttals. First, when OO state that the benefits is talking about how K-pop industry is able to give ethnic diversity. I have two layers of response. First, we concede that yes, K-pop industry is able to give this diversity, but we believe this is not something according to the goal of the feminist movement, because we're supposed to be talking about the interest of the feminist movement, which is to advocate gender equality. So we don't see why the ethnic diversity of benefit is so important to be talked about in this debate that it's not relevant. Second response, even if there is this ethnic appreciation for Southeast Asians or just Asians, we believe the manifestation is going to be something negative. Why? Because it only benefits the male Asian artists. Exactly, you're their example. Also talk about BTS, BTS or NCT, but exactly it's all these male boy groups that receive popularity. And Blackpink, for example, is not as popular. Blackpink isn't known as Blackpink; they are known as the female version of BTS, and it's the kind of inherent discrimination that women face every day. That the men are appreciated for their talent, but the women are appreciated by their physical appearance, because that's how the industry manufactured them to be. To my second rebuttal is when O said that K-pop industry is not in the wrong because they only follow the demand of the society. I have two layers of response. That first, the very fact that this K-pop industry doesn't want to make change is because they don't want to. They have the capacity, they have the capability, but they just don't want to, because the K-pop industry is selfish and profit oriented, and therefore we must oppose it. But second response, let's just engage, even if it's because of the demand of the society. Exactly, because it's the demand. You need to show that society no longer likes this, and the very fact the K-pop industry follows the demand of society means that if you want to change that, you need to change the demand, which is why we need to boycott this. We need to make sure that we show we don't like how you treat your female artists. Going to my argument, um, I will explain why feminist movement needs to aggressively take a stance and how bad the treatment actually is. So we agree that K-pop industry is just so big and it has become a trend. But instead of focusing on beauty standards or how it impacts to other people in society, we believe it's not the most important thing in this debate, right? That is a secondary impact. What should be talked more is about how the K-pop industry conduct itself. That they not only created a standard, but the way they select their members in the first place. That they also give harsher training to their female artists, that they give all this privilege to their male artists but not to their female artists. Um, for example, female K-pop artists are told that they need to wear revealing clothes, and that's how you are supposed to be looked at. While male K-pop artists is more favored. Male actors or artists, they can dress as they like. They have more freedom and all. And this is going to be a direct rebuttal of the case coming from OO when they said about better self-agency, because that is not the case. Women are not allowed to swear. They are not allowed to drink in public, and if they get caught doing that, they will receive such harsh backlash. when comparatively, when male artists slip and accidentally curse, the agency are more lenient, the fans are more lenient. We believe that on this is the harm that we are talking about, that there are women who are suffering in K-pop industry, and as a feminist movement we cannot support this because we are going to be complicit in an industry that inherently discriminate women, and this will contradict our own goals and harm our image in society. Another example is how for example, male artists or male boy groups, they had better treatment, they had better songs, that they have these more catchy songs or with better BPM, and they have more promotions, that the amount of promotions is different according compared with the female girl groups, even though they come from the same agency. For example, the female girl groups maybe get 2 months of promotion, while the boy groups get like 5 months of promotion. So you see also how lenient the company is in terms of the strict appearance or how you should maintain yourself. Shindong from Super Junior doesn't fit the standard of attractive men, that he doesn't have abs, that he's not as skinny as the other member, but he doesn't receive the same backlash that woman, this female K-pop artist has to go through. Momo from Twice has to go through an extreme diet of just eating ice cubes for days and nothing else, because exactly of this discriminative, this inherent different treatment to female artists, right? And we believe this is very important for the feminist movement to oppose, because we don't want to be complicit in staying quiet on such a big issue. The basic scenario that can happen is that obviously these companies would want to do behavior changes in how they conduct their industry. Because you oppose it, then that means you are not going to buy their products. You are going to make them lose their profit, and when you expose, boycott them, you're going to lose their support, because a lot of people realize, oh, this is the toxic treatment that women gets, and maybe the fans no longer want to support that kind of industry anymore. But let's engage to the worst case, even if that the behavioral change doesn't happen. But at least if we as feminist movement oppose it, we expose all the inherent discrimination, and we are able to create awareness. We told people what actually happens, and at the very least, also by opposing it, beside awareness, we are making sure that we are at least not supporting, that we are not giving even more money and resources for this industry to be able to develop, to be able to use our money for the industry to oppress women even more. So at least the market has been decreased on our side of the house, right? That there is certain portion of people are not supporting it, and we believe that it's a marginal benefit that is much better and is much more important. That's why we believe CG should win this debate. Thank you.
Okay, am I audible? Test, test. Okay. I'm setting my timer. Okay. Going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Let me reframe again what is this debate actually about, right? It's actually talking about the K-pop industry itself, which is just the industry, just the companies and everything, and not outside of it, like the songs or the impact whatsoever that the other teams have brought specifically towards the K-pop industry, and how much it actually impacts the feminist movement. That is what this debate should be, right? That's why the two clashes I will be bringing within my speech is first talking about the duty of the feminist movement, and second is just the impact of the K-pop industry towards the feminist movement itself, right? Because this is the only two clashes that actually fit within the framing of today's debate, right? Let's talk about the first clash, which is the duty of this feminist movement itself, right? In this debate, when we are speaking as the feminist movement and them as the main actor, that it is important to actually highlight the clash, whether or not opposing or supporting this K-pop industry is actually according to the duty of the feminist movement, which is, we know their goals are as mentioned by my member, which is gender equality, especially for women who has previously been discriminated, right? So the one that can actually win this debate is to be able to prove that opposing or supporting K-pop industry is actually according to these feminist movement goals, right? So let's talk about each of the teams here. Opening opposition says that K-pop industry is able to provide a variation of beauty standards and everything, right? But two responses towards this. First, notice how a majority of their case is only a proof is only explaining about the irrelevancy of opposing, which my member has already proved otherwise. Why it's actually very important for us to oppose, but they never actually gave you an exclusivity on why K-pop industry is something that feminist movement has to exclusively support. We believe that the urgency is not any different than actually saying that we need to support other entertainment industry because there's women artists in it and everything. Because we believe that they are not giving any exclusive benefit. Therefore, we see that there is no urgency in opening opposition's case. But my second response in how their main benefit itself is not even true, right? How they talk about the very how the variation of beauty standard examples they brought are actually specifically towards men, right? That this is what the K-pop industry is doing, or they glorify how the men K-pop idols are actually very good at everything, but then the females ones has someone who have to be objectified, which are the basically just proves our point that women are being discriminated within the K-pop industry, and it is why it is something we cannot support as the feminist movement. So therefore, when opening opposition cannot prove to us why the justification of why we must support it, we believe that they cannot win this clash. Closing opposition might come in this debate to say that K-pop industry can bring spotlight towards women and artists and everything, but we believe that this is something that is not going to happen. We still believe that in the current status quo, even as K-pop industry is starting to grow and everything, there is still more spotlight on men, where we see that BTS is going worldwide and getting shows and everything. But maybe the most comparative girl band is Blackpink, but they still barely get the light. They are still outshined by BTS and everything. There are so many K-pop boy bands known in comparative to the very little girl bands known, right? So when the K-pop industry cannot actually equally highlight women, we believe that this does not go according to the feminist goal. So it is not justified to support it, right? We credit opening government within this clash for actually explaining that K-pop industry actually goes against women, but there's very little explanation on their side what the feminist goals are, and their only cases about beauty standards, which we deem is something less urgent to what closing government has brought, right? This is when closing governments actually takes this clash. We are the only one that explains to you what the duty of this feminist movement actually is, right? That the main goal is to actually show how important it is to have gender equality within society. And by taking a stance against K-pop industry, taking a stance against this industry that specifically objectifies women, specifically discriminates women, that exclusively treats women as an object that they must dress a certain way and sing a certain way, everything, right? It is something that is not according to our that is something that is not according to goals, right? When closing government is the only team that explained that our case to aggressively oppose K-pop industry is actually according to the feminist goals. We're the only one that properly fulfills the justification to oppose it. That's why we win this clash. But going to my second clash, which is the impact of K-pop industry towards the feminist movement, right? This clash will talk about the practical impacts of K-pop industry and how it actually affects the feminist movement, right? Whether or not feminist movement should actually take a stance against this, right? This will actually analyze each of this clash. Will talk about why each of the team's practical benefit is important to or not. Talking about K-pop industry and whether it positively or negatively impacts this feminist movement, right? Which is why we must immediately remove opening opposition from their clash, right? Their only major benefit is talking about why K-pop industry allows racial diversity, which my member has already told you how this even if this is true, we believe that this is not according to what the feminist movement should actually do, right? Notice how the opening opposition barely analyzes feminist movement as the main actor in this debate, and why it is so important to focus on other agenda when our own agenda to achieve this kind of gender equality has not been achieved. We believe that opening opposition cannot actually bring the proper benefit in this debate. Therefore, they cannot actually prove how they can win this clash, and therefore we believe that they have already fallen. Right? There's an extra horror where they talk about that that opposing K-pop industry will make the fans angry and end up hating the feminist movement and everything. We believe that this is a very under-explained jargon, but we'll try to engage it anyways. We believe that these fans are just not aware of how this industry treats women, right? They only see what they are it's actually fed up with them, which is why it's very important for K-pop industry. Which is why we believe it is very important for this feminist movement to actually highlight what is going on. Notice the torturous process of a selection for a K-pop women K-pop idol to go through and everything. And when they actually realize this is something going on, they will have the rational thinking to actually oppose an industry that actually harms fellow women, right? So we believe that none of the harms that happens in OO can actually happen, right? Closing opposition might say that you are hurting women who want to achieve their dreams in K-pop, but two responses towards this. First, we believe that it is untrue because when feminist movement boycott the industry, we're also fighting the rights of these women. We are fighting for them to actually get better treatment. That simply that this woman does not, this simply that this woman needs to have the kind of same of equal facilities and support that this male artist gets, right? But the second response is the very reason that female K-pop artists is very difficult to be accepted within status quo is because it's because of the discriminative system within the K-pop industry itself, that it is a very structural discrimination that we need to overcome, which is why we need to aggressively oppose this, and neither opposition teams can take this debate, right? Opening government has attempted to explain that beauty standards affects women and everything, but only closing government fully explain why it is so important for feminist movement to take a stance that this K-pop industry, if we continue to allow it going as it basically promotes that it is okay to objectify women for money, right? It is okay to actually force women to wear mini skirts and sexy clothes for views while men can still dress as they like. That this is something that negatively hampers the feminist movement progress, and because it is actually going against our main goals to have gender equality, which is why we actually need to aggressively oppose this. With that, we when closing on government wins both of these clashes, we believe we take this debate. We proudly propose.